don't know if the 6'2" and under guard is at a premium no more as a starter.
I think we're going to see Bronny in college taking it back to him. I'm excited to see that.
I would love to see Bronny in college instead of going the other route.
Yeah, disappearing for years.
Yeah,
The NBA never runs out of drama, but this situation feels different because it's affecting two generations at the same time. Bronny James is already dealing with the pressure that comes with being LeBron's son. On top of that, the Lakers are always under the biggest spotlight in basketball. And then Kevin Durant drops a cryptic post right as the criticism surrounding Bronny starts heating up again. The timing immediately got people talking. Whenever KD shares a vague message online, fans rarely see it as just another post. Instead, they start looking for a deeper meaning behind it. Once it went viral, social media took off. Some people believed Durant was sticking up for Bronny. Others thought he was sending a subtle shot at the Lakers organization. There were even fans who felt the message was really aimed at LeBron. That's how it usually goes with Kevin Durant. He rarely explains exactly what he means and lets everyone else argue over the interpretation. The discussion picked up after another round of criticism surrounded Bronny during off-season debates and media coverage. Every move he makes gets picked apart like he's already expected to be a superstar. One bad game turns into a headline, and one missed shot becomes another reason people question whether he belongs in the NBA. The truth is, very few rookies deal with this level of attention. Bronny is still trying to develop, yet his future is already being debated every single day. The Lakers understood this pressure would come when they drafted him. The NBA also knew the spotlight would only grow after LeBron publicly said he wanted to play alongside his son. But expecting the pressure and actually handling it are two completely different things.
And so for him to have all of this scrutiny and be in the spotlight and be LeBron's son, it's mental toughness for him to go out there and not only perform, but to perform well.
Then Kevin Durant entered the conversation without ever saying he was part of it. That's what immediately caught everyone's attention. KD shared a cryptic post, and fans quickly linked it to the growing criticism surrounding Bronny. He never mentioned Bronny by name, but the timing made people connect the two. That also had fans looking back at Durant's own career. They remembered the huge expectations he carried when he entered the league as a teenager. They also remembered the criticism he dealt with in Oklahoma City, Golden State, Brooklyn, and Phoenix. KD knows how quickly a public narrative can take over. Once people decide what your story is, every mistake gets folded into that same narrative. That's why this became about more than just Bronny James. Fans started wondering if Kevin Durant was really calling out the toxic side of today's NBA culture. Bronny isn't being evaluated like most rookies. He's being judged as a symbol. Some people want to see him fail because they're tired of LeBron dominating the conversation. Others defend him no matter what because they're loyal to LeBron. Meanwhile, Bronny is caught in the middle, trying to build his own career while every game turns into another debate about pressure, legacy, and nepotism. It's a cycle Kevin Durant has been watching play out for years.
I think he could use another year of college and see where he at.
Yeah. That father-son legacy in the NBA.
Crazy.
Man.
Here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. The pressure Bronny is dealing with goes far beyond basketball. It's mental too. Before he even steps onto the court, people have already made up their minds about him. Most rookies get the chance to struggle without the entire sports world turning every rough stretch into a 3-day debate. Bronny doesn't have that kind of breathing room. Kevin Durant understands that better than most because he spent years being one of the NBA's most criticized superstars, despite putting up historic numbers. He was called soft for joining Golden State. His leadership was questioned over and over again, but through it all, KD kept producing and kept playing through the criticism. The situation becomes even more intense because the Lakers are always under the brightest spotlight. In Los Angeles, a couple of bad games can suddenly feel like a full-blown crisis. Then you add LeBron James and Bronny to the equation, and every discussion becomes more emotional than logical. Some critics argue Bronny only got his opportunity because of his father. Others believe he still earned his his chance through years of basketball experience while dealing with the level of scrutiny that most young players never have to face. Kevin Durant didn't have to spell everything out because people believed they already understood the message. The way many see it, NBA culture has become obsessed with judging players instantly.
He was going to be a Laker no matter what. This was more about he wants his name called. His father is the face of the team. He was going to be on that team, like it or not.
Kevin Durant has always had a complicated relationship with public opinion, and that's part of why his words land differently. He's never tried to be the polished corporate superstar. He goes back and forth with fans online and responds to criticism himself. Sometimes that hurts his image, but other times it makes him seem more relatable than a lot of other stars. People know criticism gets to him, so when he posts something cryptic while Bronny is at the center of another media storm, it feels genuine instead of calculated. It comes across like a veteran recognizing a younger player stepping into a difficult situation. This is where a lot of young players run into trouble. They hear all the outside noise and start trying to prove everyone wrong immediately instead of letting their game develop naturally. They begin forcing shots, rushing decisions, and second-guessing themselves because every possession feels like a test. The NBA has seen plenty of talented prospects struggle under unrealistic expectations. Bronny's situation is even more unusual because second-round picks rarely receive this level of attention. Most barely make headlines, while Bronny trends across social media after preseason games. LeBron probably expected the spotlight from the beginning. Few athletes understand media narratives better than he does. He knew that once Bronny joined the Lakers, every moment would become a story. Even so, the intensity of the backlash may have gone beyond what anyone expected. Some fans openly want Bronny to fail because they believe it would somehow reflect on LeBron's legacy. That's how emotional the conversation has become. Kevin Durant has watched basketball discussions drift away from basketball for years. As people kept breaking down KD's post, another theory started gaining attention. Some believed he wasn't just defending Bronny. They thought he was also reflecting on his own experiences. If there's one superstar who understands what it's like to be misunderstood, it's Kevin Durant. No matter how much he accomplishes or how impressive his resume becomes, another debate always seems to follow him. The standards for KD constantly seem to change. He wins championships with Golden State, and critics say they don't count. He continues playing at an elite level later in his career, and people still move on to the next criticism. That kind of environment can affect any athlete mentally. The Lakers situation also brought the nepotism debate back into focus. Critics argued Bronny's last name created opportunities that other players wouldn't have received. Supporters pushed back by saying family connections have always existed in sports, and Bronny still has to prove he belongs. Both arguments have some truth to them. LeBron's influence may have opened the door, but staying in the NBA still depends on performance. That's the part Bronny still has time to prove. This is also where the situation becomes more complicated. Once the media finds a story that keeps people engaged, it keeps coming back to it. Sports debate shows aren't always built around fairness. They're built around attention. Bronny James draws attention. Kevin Durant draws attention. LeBron James draws attention. Put all three names into the same story and the discussion quickly becomes bigger than basketball. Everyone started interpreting KD's post through their own perspective. One interesting difference was how former NBA players reacted compared to fans online. Many former players showed empathy towards Bronny because they understand how development works and how difficult that pressure can be. They know young players need time, and they know confidence can disappear faster than people realize. The problem is that internet culture doesn't really value patience anymore. Fans expect instant results, and if a rookie struggles, people are quick to throw around words like bust before he's even had a real chance to develop. That's part of why Kevin Durant's message carried so much weight. We're talking about one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen, yet public opinion about him still changes from week to week. Because of that, a lot of fans felt his post was about more than simply supporting Bronny. It came across like a veteran reminding a young player not to lose himself chasing impossible expectations. The reality is that Bronny may never be able to satisfy everyone. Another reason this story gains so much attention is because no team creates headlines quite like the Lakers. Everything gets magnified in Los Angeles. If Bronny had landed with a smaller market team, the spotlight would already be intense because of LeBron. With the Lakers, though, that attention reaches another level. Every practice clip goes viral. Every quote gets picked apart. Even reactions on the bench become talking points. Kevin Durant understands how exhausting that kind of constant scrutiny can be. During all of this, fans also started bringing up moments from KD's own career. People revisited the burner account situation and his history of responding to fans online. Ironically, those moments may actually make younger players relate to him more. Durant has never acted like criticism doesn't affect him. He hasn't tried to present himself as perfect. In today's sports culture, that honesty stands out. Bronny's situation also shines a light on a bigger issue in today's basketball conversations. Player development doesn't get the same attention because social media rewards the loudest opinions. Nobody goes viral for saying a rookie needs time. People get attention by calling someone overrated or saying they're already a failure. That's why narratives change so fast. One bad game becomes evidence that a career is finished. One great performance suddenly turns someone into the next superstar. There's very little middle ground anymore. At the same time, there's another side to this. Bronny chose this path. He knew joining the Lakers and playing alongside his father would bring enormous attention. LeBron openly embraced the chance to share the court with his son because it would be a historic moment. So the criticism was always going to come with the spotlight. The difference is that people sometimes forget Bronny is still incredibly young. KD's involvement made the story feel even bigger because he and LeBron have defined this era of basketball together. Their careers have been connected for nearly 2 decades through NBA Finals matchups, Olympic teams, and constant comparisons. So anytime Durant indirectly comments on something involving LeBron's family, fans naturally assume there's another meaning behind it. What made this situation even more interesting was how divided people became over KD's intentions. Some saw it as a veteran quietly standing up for a young player facing unfair criticism. Others believed he was inserting himself in another Lakers headline. Either way, the post accomplished one thing. People couldn't stop talking about it. That's the power of a vague message in today's sports world. Meanwhile, Bronny has stayed relatively quiet through all the noise, and that may be the smartest approach. Young players often hurt themselves by trying to answer every critic. Durant has learned that lesson in public over the course of his career. In the end, Bronny's real response won't come on social media. It'll come over time with what he does on the basketball court. The bigger picture in all of this is hard to overlook. LeBron is chasing one of the most unique family moments in sports history by sharing an NBA court with his son. Kevin Durant is still searching for the level of respect many feel his resume has already earned. And Bronny is trying to build an identity that's bigger than just his last name. Those 3 storylines all came together during this controversy. Years from now, people may look back at this moment very differently depending on how Bronny's career plays out. If he develops into a solid NBA player, many will say the criticism came too early and went too far. If he struggles, others will claim the warning signs were there from the beginning. That's how sports history usually works. The results end up reshaping the entire narrative. Maybe that's why Kevin Durant's cryptic message resonated with so many people. Whether it was aimed at Bronny, reflected his own experiences, or commented on NBA culture as a whole, it sparked a much bigger conversation. It highlighted how quickly basketball discussions can shift away from the game itself. It also showed how young players can become symbols before they've had the chance to establish themselves as professionals. From here, the debate is only going to keep growing. If Bronny succeeds, many will look back and say KD recognized the bigger picture before everyone else did. If Bronny falls short, critics will argue the pressure was too much from the very beginning. Either way, one thing seems certain: the NBA world isn't moving on from this story anytime soon.